and welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Bud Elliott. I'm Chip Patterson, coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, aka the Cover 3 tailgate, where they, like we, are celebrating the Indiana Hoosiers. 27-21 final score. I mean, banger of a game. Like, just really fun national championship game. Was it clean? No.
Oh.
Was it well officiated? No.
Yes.
Oh, but all the way across?
Yes.
Okay.
They let them play football tonight, Chip.
Oh, okay.
They didn't settle the game with ticky-tack penalties. They let them play football.
Yeah. Guys, I want to give you a hug for this great season we just had on Cover 3, and I think the refs would allow me to hug y'all like that, just like they allowed them.
Like they did at the defensive backs in this game. Yeah,
exactly right.
Full no blood, no foul rules, really from the get-go and throughout. So I will say that they were at least consistent. It is not, listen, that is not I just thought about clean game. You know, both teams are making some mistakes. Lots of different ways to unpack this, but the final score again, Indiana 27, Miami 21. The confetti's falling as we are coming to you live at 11:22 p.m. Eastern time. The tailgate is absolutely rocking. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to just talk about the game itself as it was, and the same way we would on any other, a Saturday night instant reaction show. Then we'll take another look at Indiana, sort of try as best as we can at this late hour to be able to, place them among the national champions, both within the 21st century, the college football playoff era, things of that nature. Also, a moment for Miami, make sure that we celebrate what they were able to accomplish with this playoff run, with this season, year 4 under Mario Cristobal. Maybe a little way too early thoughts on next season and so much more. So, but as you were watching this, where clearly things changed for Indiana's offense in the second half, and that changed the game. What changed to you in the credit blame department? Like the lack of third down success, the inability to move the football. I mean, they obviously had the gotta have it touchdown from Fernando Mendoza, incredible play that'll go down forever. But for a lot of that second half, this Hoosiers offense just is kind of stuck in the mud. How did you see that happen? Why do you think it happened?
So let's kind of go back to big game breakdown from, I kind of forget what day it is this time of year, but like we talked about with Lucas out, Miami slot corner in the first half, would they decide to play back and try to play red zone roulette and just let the front get home? Or would they, maybe because they don't trust their backup, just blitz a lot more to make him cover less long? And in the first half, you saw Miami bring quite a few pressures, right? In the second half, I think you saw a little bit less of that, but you saw Miami play a lot more press coverage. Indiana is already a heavy RPO team, right? And for those of us at home, like, we're not talking about like quarterback keep, right? It's either handoff or throw to whatever, like, behind whatever defender you're reading, or throw off whatever defender you're reading. And Miami went a lot more man in the second half. I thought Indiana got away a little bit from some of the crossers that they were getting them on in the first half against that. And then ultimately Miami just basically said, hey, can you guys make back shoulder after back shoulder, especially in a game that is being officiated, and I think kind of both sides, in a way that is allowing the defensive backs to grab quite a bit. And like, go back to the Oregon game. Indiana was 5 of 5 on contested catches in that game before garbage time hit. And tonight they had, I think, 2 that were not caught in the second half, and 2 or 3 really big ones that were. So, they became more true 50-50 balls as opposed to like 100% God mode balls like Indiana was playing against Oregon. So I thought that was a major key. Indiana did run the ball pretty well in the second half, mixing up their run looks. They really have a nice variety of run scheme to throw at you, and some really smart offensive linemen, and Mendoza, obviously, who can make those checks. But I think that's a lot of what it was. And Indiana had to go so much more RPO in this game because like they were just getting smoked so bad on the offensive line by Miami's defensive front that they're like, all right, anytime we have to go like true pass pro, it's dangerous. And like, obviously Mendoza's getting popped, and Signetti complained about it to the sideline reporter there going to the half. But I'm rambling here. They had to go a lot more RPO. Miami adjusted to that. the adjustment that Indiana had to make was throw and complete those back shoulder throws, and that's hard to do when you're getting grabbed a lot. And also, Miami has some good DBs, and ultimately, Indiana made enough of them to keep drives alive and then go down there and win the ball game.
If you look at the total numbers, like Indiana's second half wasn't really different than the first half as far as like yardage and yards per play. It's just they leaned more into the run game, and kind of as Bud was talking about, they were kind of forced into it based on how Miami was defending the RPOs in the second half. And I mean, they averaged 2.9 per carry in the first half. They averaged 2.9 per carry in the second half. The difference is they ran the ball 27 times in the second half compared to 18 in the first. And even on first downs, they ran the ball, 4 times, and then on 9 snaps, and they only ran it 3 times on 11 snaps in the first half. So they just kind of had to change what they were doing. It's just Miami's defense, honestly, did an incredible job all night. Like, Miami's defense did everything that it could have done. Now, it could have tackled better, but that's been a problem for them all year. But all things considered, when you look back at what Indiana offensively was able to do to Alabama, what it was able to do to Oregon, like, they weren't nearly as effective in this game as they were in those first two. They averaged only 4.4 yards per play. Miami actually outgained them. It's just offensively, Miami didn't do enough to win this football game. And then you put the block punt in there, and there's 7 points, which, guys, it was a final score of 27-21. The blocked punt loomed pretty damn large in the end. So, like, Miami's defense did its job. Its offense just didn't. And, I mean, he had the pick to end the game, but it's been a problem for them all year. And we discussed it when they first brought him in. Like, you do not regret bringing in Carson Beck. You got to the national title game. Return on investment paid off. It's just he did not have the zip on his arm all year, and it makes it difficult in games like this against other really good teams, particularly when you're trailing, to get back into it. And we saw what happened at the very end when Carson finally had to start pushing the ball down the field. It was a dying duck that landed in the arms of a defensive back who had 20 minutes to wait for it to get to him. And that's just how it ended. So, like, Mark Fletcher did everything he could, wasn't enough. I think the other difference is they got the ball to Tony on the underneath routes. And we saw against A&M, we saw against Ohio State, we saw against Ole Miss. On a lot of those, he was able to break free and get a whole hell of a lot of yak. And he had the one really long play in the third quarter, I think, when they went tempo there for a bit. It was like the 41-yard gain.
But they did good jobs of bringing his, like, they were holding on to his shoelaces.
Yeah.
Life.
There were a lot of dump offs to him on 3rd and 7 that they were tackling him after 4 yards and putting them in 4th down. Just, he couldn't do the stuff he'd been typically been doing the first 3 rounds in all season. And you got to give Indiana's defensive backs credit there. They made the tackles. Miami's didn't.
I guess the impetus for my starting question was 3 drives in the third quarter for Indiana, 13 plays, 26 yards. You know, like that, that all of a sudden, like, things really started to shift. And obviously, Miami finally scored some points, got a little bit of life. The big Mark Fletcher run just sort of changes the bounce of the sideline, of the stadium, of everything else. But I mean, just in real, like you said, Tom, you got a blocked punt, you've got a missed field goal. Final score is 27-21. You are heartbroken. But man, this was a game, thanks to the efforts of Miami in the second half, because it did not feel like we were pacing in this direction at halftime.
And it probably could have been even worse, to be honest. Like, Miami had several critical penalties that were, for a time there, basically the only first downs Indiana was getting in that second half. And, like, it was a fun game of adjustments. It's hard to call a game live, right? So I'm not trying to knock on Herb Street here, but, like, early in the third quarter, he's like, Miami's doing a great job of moving guys around to keep Indiana's D's off balance and use a lot of motion and steal their eyes. Like, they are? I would like to see that. So maybe Kirk had, like, vision into the future, because at that point they actually started to do it, and it started to work pretty well, and they were keeping Indiana off balance. But one thing Indiana did a great job of is they never let Miami take the top off their defense. There were no balls completed over the top that I recall. I don't think any.
Well,
right?
CJ Daniels was, like, running around wide open in the middle of the field on that one play, but that's not a play over the top as much as it is, like, scramble drill that he just happened to get open for.
Indiana did a great job of sniffing out what was play action and what was not. Like, I thought Miami would be able to play action some. They had some success out of pistol with the run stuff. I was looking for a little bit more off that pistol stuff. Like in the third quarter when Miami started running the ball better, they did a nice job of some of the pistol stuff, a little more of those downhill looks. I thought they were going to come back to that maybe with some play action stuff. The broadcast did indicate that Indiana seemed to have a good tell on when Miami was going to run some of those tunnel screens that they killed Ole Miss on.
It was
and Miami's real. Yeah. It's however
the same motion every single time they ran that play.
Yeah. And
what about breaking the tendency on the short Fletcher touchdown run? Because Indiana reacted like they had it scouted and ready to go with the overcommitment to the perimeter, which
that's an old school wing T play.
I mean,
like that. That's
like Indiana was expecting it to get outside and shifted everybody. Like they were doing the alerts, and then Fletcher just able to strut right in for the touchdown. I thought that was you talk about trying to break your own tendencies, take their super scouting and use it against them. That felt like one of those moments from home.
That's an Andy Reid thing that I think he stole from like some of those like the wing and T teams, from like 100 years ago, right?
Yeah, he was at BYU.
right, yeah, exactly. Like that. Teams have to get creative in the red zone, and that was a nice play call there by Shannon Dawson. But should you talk about play call? All right, so I don't think Curt Cignetti purposely took a timeout to take the field goal team off to bait Miami into putting their pass rusher package on the field. Like, I'm not going to give him that much credit, but damn sure if that didn't work out, man.
Maybe
they get their lightning team or speed whatever turbo team, whatever. Like they I don't know what Miami calls it, but like a lot of teams have a code for it. It's like as far as what their personnel package is for like obvious passing down stuff, and to call and run QB draw, that's ballsy. It's really kind of an all or nothing call. And but I guess on 4th and 5, everything's an all or nothing call, right?
Yeah.
And they did a good job. And honestly, like usually like running in second long is kind of a dead play and usually like an incorrect play. But like Indiana does a nice job of getting back on schedule with runs on passing
4 or 5 hard yards from one of those guys.
They have done that a lot this year where they'll be in what you think is a passing down and they just hand it off. Like second down, third down. And we saw him do it a couple times on third down in this game, like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. There was the one where they handed off to Black and picked up the first down. I think it was like a 15 or 16-yard gain. It's like they don't have tendencies, or at least their tendencies kind of go against type.
Yeah. They do a really good job of self-scout for sure. And they just play tough, man. Like Miami clearly had a plan to rough up Mendoza. He looked off like part of this game, and they popped him. Like that was like a 90s national, like 1990s game. We're like, all right, we're gonna like this guy was so well protected and just so perfect over the last 2 games. Our only real shot is to hit him and hit him often, and they did. And I thought they rattled him a little bit.
16 for 27 for 186 yards. That is 59% completion percentage from your Heisman Trophy winner. He obviously has the touchdown run, which, immortalizes his part in this Indiana national championship game win. But I agree, not his best game.
No.
Yeah. It was shocking just in relief of how well he played the prior 2 games.
Right.
That like he made a couple misreads and he made a couple throws that were not like perfectly placed. And we talked about this for 2 weeks now or 10 days or whatever it was. Like, guys, if he plays as well as he has played the last 2 games, Miami is cooked regardless of what else they do. And he just played like I would say like good game relative to how much pressure Miami was putting on him. And that gave Miami a chance, and ultimately Indiana, like they get the dub, and they're national champions.
And that was probably his worst game as a passer since the Iowa game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But even in the Iowa game, he hit like big throws and he had a couple touchdowns. He didn't have those today. Like credit again. I mean, we talked about this all week.
Becker saved his ass on a couple of plays.
Yeah. We talked about it during the week too. Like their tackles were a problem for them against Alabama, and they were a huge problem for them tonight. Like the Miami pass rush did its job. Like they were in his ass, and he was very much feeling the heat. You could tell he was getting sped up back there because he was getting rid of the ball, even on the non-RPOs. The one thing about Mendoza is he'll stand in the pocket and he'll wait. He was not looking to sit around and wait for guys today. He was firing the ball early.
So again, we're sitting here. The game went final 17 minutes ago. What better time to ask? So what's Indiana's legacy?
They broke the blue chip ratio.
They did.
It was
That's
always
kind of
going to
wild.
happen.
Like that. Yeah. Well, we talked about like someone's going to break it at some point.
I didn't think it was going to happen
Indiana.
once they expanded, though. That's the thing. Like, I figured after they got rid of the 4 teams, I was like, well, now this thing's going to live forever.
I mean, I think it's a testament to how well they play that they had to go through like a couple like, teams that do recruit in that way. And, like we thought it would be a really, really good quarterback that did it. Like they played so well, like they don't make they made some mistakes tonight, but like they generally play like mistake-free football. And like, I mean, you got to give those guys credit. They play their ass off. They're super well coached, and they broke the blue chip ratio. Like I don't think I saw Indiana doing that. Like I thought it would have been like maybe the Marcus Mariota Oregon team or one of those type of teams that was, like close, and they finally like hit early, maybe in their developmental cycle on a stud quarterback. But for Indiana to do it is wild. Like we're gonna be talking about this for a long time. Not the blue chip ratio piece, but like although we'll have some of that clearly, but like how much hope does this give other fan bases now? Like if Indiana can do
far too much.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's some shoot.
There are Oklahoma State fans right now who are convinced that Chad Morris is going to get them to the national title game in 2 years.
Eric Morris.
That's good. That's good for our business, though, man.
Well,
that is.
I think that, and first of all, just a little side shout out here to Brandon Marcello, our colleague. I will admit, even here early in the show, like finishing the season can be tough, especially in the expanded playoff era. I mean, we've been running hot since July and since like mid-July, and everybody has. Like, I'm not just saying us, but everybody has. I thought Brandon finished the season really, really strong. And one of the things he did was he talked to other miracle, improbable champions from across all sports, to get their perspective on Indiana, to have, and I would offer, like, there's going to be a lot of great content on CBSSports.com. He is among the writers that are there right now. But he's offered several pieces, but that was one of them. And that's the thing that keeps being a reoccurring theme through all of the reporting, the conversations, and whether it's written word or us talking to somebody, it is a one of one. This thing cannot be copied. This is the perfect combination of coaching and investment and like the right pieces that they got, because they flipped last year's roster and it was good enough to make the playoff, but it wasn't good enough to do this. So then they had to go and they had to do it again. I mean, how many times are we going to get a situation where one of these schools that's trying to be the next Indiana hires a coach who has an offensive and defensive coordinator that have been with them since Division II?
Right.
It's just like a lot of things. I think that this is a true supernova. Does it give other programs and schools hope? Yes. Can Indiana be replicated? I say no. The only way it can be replicated is if Indiana goes and does it again, because this is a people situation, and Kurt Cignetti's the right person. Indiana had the right people to agree to everything that needed to happen. I think that it is very difficult to imagine all of these things lining up for another school to this manner, right? 2 years and you're hoisting the national championship trophy.
I would mostly agree, but also like we don't know when the next time is we're going to have like very changing like landscape of sport, market conditions, et cetera, right? Like portal plus NIL coming along at the same time is probably like the greatest disruptive force to like the power structure of the sport since,
I mean,
what migration from the Rust Belt plus the advent of air conditioning and mosquito control,
segregation.
Right. Okay. Yeah. That's even more right. Like I mean, those are things that change the sport like pretty drastically.
Yeah.
And if you like are someone who embraces
integration for being technical.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Like if you're somebody who embraces the
I should
newness
get that right
of the
on Martin
sport,
Luther King Day.
That is true.
Happy Martin.
If you're somebody like who embraces like the newness of the sport,
yes.
right? And like you embrace technology and you embrace different ways of doing things, like and you're like looking for market inefficiencies, maybe it can be done again. Hell, maybe Indiana stays ahead of the curve. Who knows?
Is this So the Big Ten has now won the last 3 national championships. And they have done it with Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana. Big Ten best conference in college football?
If we use the same method that we did when we said the SEC was, then hell yes, it is.
Yeah.
Why did the SEC say it was the best? Because
they won all the titles.
A bunch of different schools.
I think the reason why I enjoy and think that there are some takeaways from that run is that it was the old blue blood, the only team that was worth a damn in terms of national championship competition for a decent period of the modern era, right? They were your last national champion in 14, but also even to stretch it back, at least they were playing for it, right? Like all those years between 02 and 14, when Ohio State at least had like a seat at the table. You know, they were there, they were playing for it. And then Indiana. So it's like you've got full past, present, future kind of thing going on in terms of these 3 national champions, all representing sort of different identities within the Big Ten family.
So I understand the argument for the SEC being the best as far as like they're probably like the best 1 through 10. But where that falls apart for me is equally weighting 1 and 10, right? And I think you need, like, to Tom's point, just to kind of tug on this thread a little more. Yeah, when we were saying the SEC is the best, it's because they had like the best team in the sport for a pretty good long while. Now the Big Ten's had that, and the Big Ten at the top is fairly deep. You know, like who is the second best team in the sport this year? I think you can like really reasonably argue is Ohio State.
Ohio State, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not putting that as my final ranking for our CBS Sports 136, but I would agree that if you wanted to say Ohio State, it was number 2 behind Indiana. I wouldn't say that your ballot is wrong. It would just be a difference of opinion.
Yeah, for at least most of the season, they look like the best or second best team.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I think the Big Ten this year ended up being the best league. And you know what, if you're in Iowa or a Wisconsin or an Illinois or, you know, a Washington, hell, if you're Oregon, you're like, all right, we can get there too.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of where that hope thing, you know, plays into it. But those Indiana fans were loud too.
A lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta say, you know, we had that clip a couple weeks ago. Not even a couple. Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago at this point where Danny was talking about it. And I told him, I said, don't be surprised. There are more Indiana fans in Miami for this game. It was on Instagram, and I saw a lot of comments from Miami fans in my Instagram feed the last couple weeks telling me I was an effing moron, that Miami was going to fill that place up. Oops.
It was a hard ticket to get.
Yeah.
They're like $4 or $5 grand.
Yeah. But I'm told that like Ticketmaster has like a 6-year payment plan from some people who may or may not have found that out.
6-year
to get to the game.
What?
What does that do to your credit score?
Yeah, what is the interest on Ticketmaster 6 year?
I told him, I said, hey man, you know what? Cool. Whatever. That's you, man.
Some unique financial models being used these days. What's the Treasury yield say about this Ticketmaster payment plan?
Oh, okay. It's through all these. I don't think it's in-house.
Yeah, well, no free ads to the third-party vendors offering interest rates on tickets.
Wow.
There's never a shortage of companies willing to put you in debt. That's really all that you got to remember.
100%. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back, do a little bit of a quick Miami post-mortem, and then sort of, you know, any more big picture takeaways. Anything else from the game specifically, by the way? Like just the aspects of it that you want to peel apart?
I thought like the end of like Indiana's final drive was really interesting because on 2nd and 1, where Indiana false starts, Miami really with one timeout should jump off sides there intentionally.
When was it? Wait, when?
So 2nd and 1, I think it was like a minute 39 left. Miami only has one timeout.
Right.
Oh, okay.
I was like, Miami's got to be jumping off sides here on purpose, and they were lining up and they weren't. And I was like, oh my god, this is like a pretty bad game management error. And then they got bailed out because Indiana false started. But like the odds that Indiana converts 2nd and 1 are astronomically high, and then you are totally screwed if they get a new set of downs there. You see what I'm saying? Like the game is over.
Mm-hmm.
I had, by the way, it wasn't a ton, just 4 accepted penalties for 23 yards for Indiana. But the team that doesn't beat itself having a couple of big time penalties.
On that third down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there were just a couple spots where you're like, okay.
Brother, they were giving up. You don't need to be. I understand, like, in the moment, it is so hard to, like, because you're like, I got to get this tackle. I got to stop him. But just like in that moment, bro, they're handing off on 3rd and 17. Don't worry. Somebody will tackle him. Just let him go.
Yeah, that was wild.
It was wild.
Another thing in my notebook, I will say, like, shout out, Elijah Surratt. I've never seen him struggle that much.
Ooh.
That was he had the drop later. You could see he was getting kind of frustrated. So shout out Frederic, man, because I thought he did a fantastic job on Elijah Surratt.
Kid's a stud.
Yeah. Like he was getting physical. I mean, obviously they were all getting physical with each other. The rest were letting them just beat each other up, which I'm fine with. But just he made Surratt uncomfortable, and Surratt was struggling to get that physical contact to make plays.
Yeah, the best success that I feel like Indiana was having was either Becker making an incredible contested catch or some good Cooper, catches it with a little bit of space, maybe is able to run, make some good runs upfield. But not the Surratt domination game. Miami did have a little stars have to be your stars. It's the title game. Best players got to be your best players. Mark Fletcher finishes with 17 rushing attempts, 112 yards, 2 touchdowns. Obviously, the 57-yard score was a big one. And then Malachi Toney, 12 targets, 10 catches on those 12 targets, 122 yards, and a score. So, yeah, definitely stars showed out in a big way. The balanced rushing attack for Indiana, you had Black leading the way. We were talking about his running style being very effective, 79 yards on 17 attempts. Hemby with 60 yards on 19 attempts. Neither of them crazy, like not a single run over 20 yards between the two of them, averaging, between 3.5, 4.5 yards per carry, but just some good hard running in the second half that allowed Indiana to be able to get the plays they needed, especially in a wild fourth quarter. 24 fourth quarter points in this game.
Didn't smoke it through the filter, Chip.
I know. It's tough. I will say shout out to our friend Mackenzie Brooks. I think she said every fourth quarter over has hit in the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Take that as a little note down. Every fourth quarter over is hit. And of course that happened with a 24-point fourth quarter this year. Coming up on the other side, a little bit more on Miami, what they did to get here, plus early look ahead to 2026 and more. Next.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast as the Indiana Hoosiers are still on the field celebrating what was a national championship win, 27-21. Since they are hoisting trophies, I think it's probably time that we do it as well. As you can see right here, this is the Cash App trophy. Our thanks to Cash App for sponsoring the Locks all season long. Our thanks to you, the Cover 3 tailgate, for riding along. You get up the likes, we give you the locks move the lines, and we all end up going home happy. The Cash App trophy, this thing is something that I'm very, very happy to accept from the Locks season competition. So I will look forward to defending this as we run it back again next season.
Hold on to it while you can, Chip. I'm coming for it.
Good job, buddy.
Hey, and finally the ACC did win something.
Oh,
Oh,
listen. If don't let Drake May win a Super Bowl. All right. We'll have Billy Belichick twisted in like fits. How's Billy Belichick gonna try to decide between celebrating North Carolina's greatest quarterback in school history and also celebrating the Patriots at the same time?
man. Yeah, watching like the last month. If you're like a football fan in Houston, you hate the quarterback position now because like you were having a nice run with A&M and the Texans, and then like my buddy's an Aggies Texans fan, and he's like, dude, I hate quarterbacks.
Yeah.
No.
Is there another team that you think could have fared better than Miami in this spot?
I mean, I would say Ohio State. They played them like to the final whistle, I guess.
Iowa, Penn State. No. You know what? Here's something for you.
Because I think the answer might be that Miami was built right to be able to play. We talked about
this was a bad matchup. Yeah,
this was a bad. Yeah, this is it. Like this is exactly the team that could have really caused problems for Indiana, and sure enough, Miami was able to do it.
I don't want to, again, totally worth the investment. Miami would do it 100 out of 100 times again. Does Miami win that game tonight if Darian Mensah is their quarterback this year?
Ooh.
Or if Cam Ward was still their quarterback?
Oh, well, Cam Ward, I think, is yes.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Ward was the number one pick. Yeah.
Cam Ward just had a horrendous defense. That took the field when he stepped
Okay,
up.
so yeah, Cam Ward's an obvious, but like if they have Mensah, because like Beck couldn't give him anything. Like he made a couple nice throws when he got like 20 minutes, but like as far as,
and he got a lot of time too.
Yeah, it's like there was so often where he had plenty of time and he just couldn't find anything downfield and he would just dump it off. And it's like,
and Indiana really didn't have to respect the pass much.
No,
I think that's one of the reasons why they had as much success against the Miami run game as they did.
So what's the final takeaway here for Mario Cristobal and the Canes?
Great season.
Yeah.
Incredible season. And I mean, they're getting a lot of key players back. They're also losing a couple huge guys on defense, obviously, but they've, like you saw, like the one play from Lightfoot where he absolutely was it Black or Hemby who he destroyed? He destroyed somebody.
Yeah. It was Hemby.
And like the knock on Lightfoot all year is like, well, he's not strong enough yet. He's got to put on weight. He's, whatever. He's all speed. He's not strength yet. And then he just put that kid on his ass. So you've got Lightfoot coming back. You're going to have really good pass rushers again next year. You're probably going to have Darian Mensah. You're still going to have Mark Fletcher Jr. You're still going to be strong along the lines of scrimmage. You're still going to be very good next year. Now, do you get to the title game? I don't know, but you're still going to be pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect them to take somewhat of a step back next year. You do still have Tony, Marion, and Daniels were both redshirt seniors, so we'll see if a guy like Josh Moore or Trader can step up. They are losing some real special pieces that I don't know that you can just like. And I mean, that first big class that Mario signed, they really hit on him. Bain, Maui Noah, those guys are almost certainly gone. I would have to assume. So Cooper's the right guard, a 4-year starter as a senior. I can't imagine that he can come back. Brockermeyer was right. Bell was a senior. I don't know if the JUCO stuff, if he has any time left. I don't think so. McCoy's a redshirt junior, so I assume he could come back. Brockermeyer, the center, who was a 5th-year transfer in, he's gone. So they're going to lose 4 out of 5 on the offensive line, I think, unless Bell comes back somehow. And then Messidor was, I guess, 6th-year senior, I think, right? So he's gone. Bain's gone. Moten is a 4th-year junior. I would assume he's going to go, but I don't know that. Blay was a 5th-year senior, so he's gone. Armando Blunt is like obviously really talented. Lightfoot, they'll be good. And then I'm not just trying to read down their whole depth chart, but like they are losing a lot of like their best players and then also some of their most experienced players. Like Basaint's a senior. Muhammad Torre was a grad, so he's gone. Keontae Scott was a 5th-year guy. He's gone. Jacoby Thomas was a 5th-year guy, so he's gone. But you get Lucas back, right? You get Damari Brown back, I think, unless he wants to go pro. He's a redshirt sophomore. Frederick can't go pro because he's a true sophomore.
Fitzgerald, freshman.
Right. So, like, this could be fine.
Does Ms. Danger have any eligibility left?
Who?
Not familiar with that name, Tom.
Oh, okay.
Hey, no, she got more TV time than Irvin did.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Listen, that was not.
Won't hear me complaining.
Listen, that was not on my bingo card. That given the way that everything had gone, that Miss Danger would get more television time than Michael Irvin. But I wasn't tracking it, but my estimation of what I just saw said that the ESPN cameras were doing a better job finding her than most of the other Hall of Famers. You know?
The other.
Too many breaks left.
All right, top. No, never mind.
They'll still be.
No, stop.
All right, so if you got a deep roster here, like Miami does, we need to make sure we go.
All right, what about the Indiana next year? What about next season for Indiana? We know they'll have Josh Hoover as their quarterback. We've seen a lot of the transfer portal additions. Becker's a true sophomore, I believe, so he's back.
He can't go.
But we're losing Cooper and we're losing Surratt.
Mm-hmm.
Losing. I mean, Mikhail Kamara with the blocked punt, he came from James Madison. You know, like all the JMU guys at this point have to be basically cycled out.
Yeah, like Landino's back on defense, but I think, and they've got a couple other young guys in the front seven that they're high on, but I think like the majority of their production is gone. So
Cooper's a fourth-year junior, so he could go. I don't know if he's guaranteed to go. Nowakowski was a fifth-year senior, so like the tight end, I assume he's gone. Like all three of their top tight ends were seniors out of eligibility. Coogan, the center who played really well, he's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still going to be a good team, I think.
Yeah, they're going to be good.
Like the portal, their portal haul, which we'll talk about more on Wednesday as well, like kind of a final portal review here. If Mensah can go ahead and figure out what he's doing, be nice. But to Tom's point, they do lose quite a bit.
And we'll see, like, can Josh Hoover be Fernando Mendoza? Like, which Josh Hoover do you get? Do you get the one from 2 years ago who reined in the turnovers and played really damn well? Or do you get the guy who kind of regressed? Now, I will say, if you're Indiana, Fernando had turnover problems last year too, especially when Cal was playing the better teams. And he reined it in. So maybe you can, develop Josh Hoover that same way, because Josh Hoover's a talented guy. I don't think he's number one pick kind of talent that Fernando can be, but I think he's a very good college quarterback.
They get Pons back, right?
They could. I don't know if they will. Like, I think Mel's got him at like one of his top corners. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what the NFL thinks of him just because he's like 5'8", 5'9". But
I got to think he would make.
I don't think he's going to be like a first day pick or a second day
right.
pick. He might be. So like, yeah, he might.
So if you can make high six figures, low seven figures coming back to school, that might be a smart idea. Yeah.
Like, I love the kid. I just don't. I wonder how NFL teams will view him because of his size.
I did not task this because I'm not gonna. That's not my job. If you were tasked with having to be on the way too early duty, right? Everybody has to be. I'm not really interested in outside the top 10 because sure, you could literally say whoever. But Indiana's in the top 10, right?
For next year?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
If you really, really, really worked ahead on this and you want to make me an argument, I would listen to it. But I think their portal haul plus their proof of concept and the fact they haven't lost any coaches would lead me to think they're still top 10 next year.
Yeah. I do wonder, like, I'd have them in my top 10 for sure. I'd have them in my top 5. it's going to be interesting to see how they're viewed by like everybody, or if like this, since they're Indiana, even though they're the national champs, if people will rush to put teams like LSU and others ahead of.
Oh no, it's going to be Texas. That's going to be.
Well, Texas, I understand they've got
and Notre Dame
coming, yeah. But I'm saying it's like the other teams who maybe were disappointing this year, but are going to get a ton of hype in the offseason. Like I saw a way too early one today that had your requisite like 9 or 10 SEC teams in the top 25. They had Penn State at 13, despite the fact that Penn State is basically Iowa State, but now it's playing a Big Ten schedule. So it's going to be interesting to see how people view Indiana.
On our friends at FanDuel, 4 of the top 5 early national title favorites are not SEC teams.
Are they playoff teams plus Notre Dame?
Yes.
Yeah. To me, that's the way that it builds out, is you look at Indiana and Ohio State. I would say Texas. You look at Texas and Georgia. You look at, let's say Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas and Georgia, Notre Dame, Texas Tech, and that's kind of it. Like that's my top. I think that's my top crust. I don't have the FanDuel odds right now, but I think that's the way that I would sort of like basically grab the very top tier of each conference and sort of throw them all in a bowl.
I'm in Illinois, so Illinois isn't listed, but I'm assuming they're in the top 10.
Let me check here. They are, SEC bias from FanDuel, right now. But LSU, interestingly, the second highest, the second highest SEC team.
Yeah, I'm not in on LSU.
I don't know if I'm there.
I'm not there.
If they land Seton, though, I might start buying in.
Yeah.
They'll address the big need.
I think Miami is a perfectly sensible 12.
Still
Texas
a favorite in the
right
ACT,
there.
though, right?
See, I mean, yeah, definitely still the favorite in the ACC, but it's like they would occupy a spot nationally like a Texas A&M or like an Ole Miss, the teams they just beat in the college football playoff. But just you acknowledge the overall health of the program, the talent in the locker room, in the building. There is obviously turnover coming in and out, but you have to put them before you start reaching down into your USC, your Louisville, your those teams that are going to occupy the back half of a top 25.
Still on FanDuel, Chip. Who's the favorite to win the Heisman right now?
Right now, Jeremiah Love.
No,
he's gone. Love's gone. Who is it?
It's not saying.
TJ Carr?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I would have thought it'd be Arch.
Man, like some of these SEC teams, you're like, hey, do we trust Sark's operation here, right? Do we think Kiffin can get this thing rolling immediately? Questions there.
I would feel if I was again tasked with this, I would be ready to throw Texas up there based on the very, very blatant all-in approach. Like it is almost Ohio State 24 levels of all-in right now. Would you agree? I mean, do you remember like what it was like?
Yeah, I just trust Ryan Day a lot more than I trust Sark.
Fair. I don't know if we said that a couple years ago when he was losing to Michigan every single year.
That's fair.
But like when we saw, it's like, wait, hold on. Why do they need Quinshon Judkins? They have Travion Henderson. Like why? Oh my God, they got Caleb Downs. Oh wait a second. Why'd they get hit? Will Howard too? I thought Will Howard was going to Miami or USC. He's going to Ohio State. I mean, it was just, like we kind of saw that thing build in a way where, you were looking at Texas and you're like, Cam Coleman, Raleek Brown and Hollywood Smothers. Oh God. I just, I'm kind of sensing that all in approach where, hey, look, Texas was number 1 in the preseason AP top 25 for the first time in school history. And they laid a fat egg in week 1 and couldn't get it done in some of the biggest games of the season. Just because they would start a year with the talent requisite of that kind of ranking doesn't mean that they would finish it. But such is the nature of the preseason rankings. Anything else from the night, the season as a whole? I love you guys. Thank you so much for doing all these instant reaction shows. Cover 3 Tailgate, you guys rock.
Yeah, thank you to the tailgate and all of our fans. Like it's been an incredible year.
Thank you. Love you guys. Love the listeners. Love the viewers. Love the sport. Off season, we're not going anywhere. We'll
No.
be right here 3 times a week.
And-
Season never ends around here.
No. There was a time years ago when you'd go to the national championship game and you'd pour it out, and then everyone would just leave you alone for a little while. But as Bud mentioned, we are thrilled to be back here on Wednesday with Andrew Hodgins.
No, Coop. Coop's doing Portal.
Okay, so Coop's coming. Okay. Yeah, Cooper Patagna joining us for Wednesday's show. Full transfer portal recap. Very excited to be able to do that. So, but yeah, we will still be here Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be getting you set with summer school and all those schedules as they become more pertinent over the course of the spring months. But yeah, Cover 3 podcast ain't going anywhere. We're very excited to be able to continue the conversation, both wrapping up the season that was, and then also advancing into the 2026 season. Yes, Brandon, I see you. Spring practice less than 30 days away.
Seriously?
Some places.
Who is doing spring
In
on
February?
February 19th?
Sociopaths.
So David Cutcliffe, I remember, used to do it at Duke. And he would be out there like, Alabama's sleeping right now. You're out here working.
Yeah, Coach, Alabama wins a lot more games than we do. Maybe you should rethink this.
Oh, that was the year they opened with Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I went out to one of their spring practices and you were there, I was like, well, I mean, you are not technically wrong, Coach.
Sleep is important, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Coach Signetti said he
all-around
slept until
schedule.
9:30 a.m. this morning. He was so confident about his game plan. Wonder if he felt the same way midway through the third quarter.
Slept until 9:30 because he was up till 6 finishing the game plan.
Oh, man. We will be back, as we mentioned, Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Also, a reminder that now that we get into the course of the next couple of weeks and months, we want to hear from you. So the Cover 3 Tailgate always does a great job of being able to deliver mailbag questions. We'll tackle some sort of in the flow of the regularly scheduled shows. Sometimes we'll make a whole episode just tackling a whole bunch. If you want to get to us through Apple Podcasts and the reviews, if you want to get in Spotify comments, that's another spot where if you want to, drop some observations, some questions, we can grab them, throw them in a future mailbag episode. As always, you can reach out to us on social media. All ideas are welcome. And then, of course, those of you who show up in the Cover 3 Tailgate live at youtube.com/cover3, when you get the conversation started early, you drop a couple questions for us. We see them when we get ready to start the show. We'll be grabbing a couple of those every single episode as well. Thanks again to Mikey for always staying up late with us, and his night is never done when we sign off. So let's allow him to be able to start the next step of his process. So you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at Bud Elliott 3. You can follow me at Chip _Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
See y'all.